Agent Power Huddle is a daily jumpstart, giving you all the tools you need to create an amazing real estate career. Led by top experts in the field, you'll learn how to sell more houses in less time while creating the life you want. Welcome to the Agent Power Huddle.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I heard there was some issues with trying to use the redirect today, so bear with me. I'm just making a quick post to give everybody the direct link. So I know you all got here, but there it is. Okay. Welcome. I'm excited that everyone's here. How's it going? Good. Steve, good to see you. I just saw your new listing got under contract. Good job. Love it. Okay. So you guys, today I have a super special guest host. I have been working this year so far to try to bring to you some of the best of the people that I work with every day. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm trying to get the lighting perfect. Okay, here we go. And so today it's all about lighting, Ed. You know that. The video, you got to have the best lighting. We know this. Okay. So today I have my personal money coach, Germaine Foley. And I know that I don't know if you've heard it before, but some of you have heard my money journey. Some of you have heard kind of my story of, where I came from financially to where I got to today and where I'm going to in the future. And you also probably know by following me that I'm a huge believer and advocate in coaching, because when you have a coach, that coach, their goal or that relationship is to help you get to the next level. And so for me, this year, my biggest commitment was to really improve my money mindset, because let's be real, it doesn't matter how much income we earn, because every single one of us has the capacity on this call to earn a lot of money, right? We know that. Let's be real. We're in real estate, okay? It's okay to say that. It's okay to say that real estate is a lucrative industry, because it is. And there's a lot of work that goes into it, right? But I will tell you, the one thing they don't teach us, besides how to actually be a realtor, how to market, right? Another thing we don't learn in this business, unless you actually go out and seek it, is how to keep the money that you're earning. Would you agree with that? Would you agree that every single person out there is like, real estate agent, buy my lead gen system, buy my tools, it's the next best thing, I'm going to get it. And you're like, yeah, go, right? It's okay. Jackie's laughing. I know. I am not the only one, okay? Because let's be real, we are all very similar on this call. We're all in the same industry. And I know for a fact, I would never call anybody out, but I know for a fact there are a lot of people who are on this call, and maybe not even on this call, who haven't had a closing in anywhere from 3 to 6 months. And starts to feel like a little bit of panic sets in. It starts to feel like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Am I going to be able to make it? Am I in the right business? Okay. And the reality is that's a mindset. That's a story that you tell yourself. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to introduce Germaine, because Germaine she's made a massive impact in the way that the stories that I tell myself about money. And money sometimes can be very personal to people. So, feel free to ask questions or not. It's okay. But Germaine has been a big influence in where I'm at right now in this moment. And so I thought it would be doing a disservice to you to not introduce her to you, because what you're going to learn today, I think, is going to be some massive steps that you can take to immediately improve the story that you tell yourself about money. Okay? So Germaine, with that being said, you're up.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Lynea. Can you all hear me okay? Okay. Thank you, Lynea, for inviting me. I am so excited to share what's on my heart with you all. I think you're going to get a lot out of what I'm going to share. I'm going to share my screen. Give me a second. Let's see here. Share. Okay. What do you all see? Do you see my Zoom? Let's see.
It's just a black screen right now.
Can you see something different now?
Nope. Just black.
Okay. Let me see. Let me stop sharing.
Acknowledge.
And get the right. Okay. Maybe this is the screen.
It's all about Zoom. It's always weird.
Can you seeing something different now?
We're seeing that you're starting. Yes, we got your Canva presentation now.
Awesome. Okay. Let me present it. Okay. Let's go to the beginning now. Excuse the Zoom issues.
We are still seeing the present button, not the presentation. There you go. Okay, we're here now.
Do you see it?
Yep, we're here.
Okay, cool. All right, good. Well, hello, everyone. So, Lynea, I have to say thank you for having me. Today, we are going to talk about how to build wealth on an inconsistent income. I'm so excited to share everything I have planned for you today. So first, we're going to just do a quick introduction of myself. And then we're going to go through these 4 concepts: how to fall in love with your inconsistent income, how to make your inconsistent income consistent. And then we're going to talk about some mindsets and brain drama that you're going to have about this. And we're going to also talk about the importance of committing. Okay, so my name is Germaine Foley. And quickly, the reason why I'm so passionate about helping people with their money is because my money used to be a hot mess. And I was able to pay off over $200,000 worth of debt, create a multiple 6-figure net worth without, listen to this part, you all, without living a boring, frugal life filled with restrictions and deprivation. I do not believe in that at all. I'm not a fancy financial advisor, but I do have this passion because I've been able to help myself, and I've been able to help a lot of other women too, and men. About 10 years ago, I paid off a ton of debt, made a substantial increase in my net worth. And once I did that, I knew I had to share it with other people, because I think so many of us think that we have to choose between being intentional with our finances or living life. But we can do both. We can build wealth and enjoy our lives at the same time. And that is my motto. And I think a lot of us do not even attempt, because we think we have to live this life that is not fun, and that could be further from the truth. And I'll share more about that as we go on today. Okay, so number 1 is to fall in love with your inconsistent income. So I hear this all the time. There is a limiting mindset about having a variable income. You think, I can't plan, I don't know how much I'm going to make, I can't build wealth, I can't save, I can't do anything because I have this variable income. And this couldn't be further from the truth. And I love to use the analogy of a battery. This is kind of a tool I use with my clients. Think about a battery. There's always a positive side and there's a negative charge, right? There's a positive charge and a negative charge when you think about a battery. And our brains are wired to always think of the negative side first. Why? Because we're human. And if you think about back in the day when our ancestors lived in cages, you really did have to be on the lookout for all the negative danger that was around you. That's how we survived. And even today, our brains are still wired this way. So instead of thinking of your variable income as a limitation, I want you to think of it as a superpower. Lynea already said, you can make so much money in real estate. You can make so much money if you have your own business of any kind. Your income potential is unlimited. So instead of thinking about all the limitations that you have, let's think about the possibility that you have. And when you do that, when you make peace with your finances, the way that you make your money, and when you fall in love with it and think of it as a superpower, you open yourself up for creativity, to be motivated, ideas will flow. But when you're focused on that negative, it's like you're stuck. But as soon as you start looking at that positive side, all of the possibility opens up for you, right? I can feel different just thinking about it for you, right? And when you feel different, you act different. You take different actions and you go after things a lot differently. So that's number 1, is to make peace and fall in love with your inconsistent income. Are you all with me on that? Okay.
I love that. I love that.
Really good. Good. All right. Now, the next thing we want to do, we're in love. We're all Google guide, right? Now, we're going to make your inconsistent income consistent. And I'm going to tell you more about that in just a second. But first, I want to talk about Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law is a concept that says it's about time. It says that if you give yourself an hour to do a task, you're going to take that whole hour, when really the task probably could have been handled in 15 minutes, right? And so this is what kind of happens with your money, especially when you have those big months where you're making all that money. What happens? You spend it all. Like all that money that comes in, you spend it all. Maybe you make investments in your business. Maybe you do some things in your personal finances. But I want to offer that we can smooth it out, especially when it comes to your personal finances. Listen, our business finances can be inconsistent. That's a superpower. But when it comes to your personal finances, we want to say goodbye to roller coaster money. We want to make it smooth and predictable and boring almost when it comes to your personal finances. And this is how you'll be able to consistently build wealth, even if you have a variable income. So here are the steps. Number one, you're going to create a system. I know you like this word, Lynea. Create a system, a money system, to account for your high months and your low months. So number one, you're going to set an owner's pay based on lower income months. You're going to work with your tax person, your bookkeeper, to figure out what that is. And we pick your low months because that means most months you're going to make more than that. And your personal finances are going to be totally fine. So we're not going to pick the higher months because let's be honest, if we pick the higher months, then a lot of the times, because your income is inconsistent, you're going to be scrambling during those lower months. So we want to pick an owner's pay based on our lower months, and we want to do this with a tax professional and our bookkeeper. Okay? Now, what you're going to do is during your higher income months, you're going to build up a personal reserves up until about 3 to 6 months of your owner's pay. So let's say your owner's pay is $5,000 and you want to be conservative. You're going to pick, I want 6 months of that in my reserves. Then that for you is $30,000. Now you want to build it up every month until you get to that point. And then when you have lower months, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be able to dip into that to cover your owner's pay. So again, your personal finances are consistent. They're predictable. They're always the same. So you don't have to worry about your bills. You can have peace and calm in your personal finances, and your business finances can be inconsistent. Now, what you want to do with that is reevaluate quarterly, especially at the beginning. And you might find that, oh my gosh, I had some really great months and I already hit my goal of whatever it was for you, whatever, if you pick 3 or 6 months. And then that surplus over and above that is your build wealth money bucket. You're going to build wealth with that surplus. You're going to save in your personal life. You can invest. You can pay off some debt, whatever you want to do. You can even do some fun stuff with it as well. But the goal is to not do that every month, but let that money pile up in that reserves account, reevaluate on a quarterly basis. That's when you pay your taxes and all of that, so that you can just add this into it and build wealth with that surplus amount. And remember, you want to consult a tax professional for all of this that I'm talking about. Okay. You with me? All right. So next is we've got our system in place. Now we need to anticipate our brain to freak out. Your brain is going to give you some drama. Because what I just described is very, very simple to set up, very simple to do, but it's not easy. It's not easy because we are humans and we have a human brain, and it operates off of something called the motivational triad, which means that it is only concerned with you surviving. It doesn't care about your thriving. And the way it does that is it wants you to do the familiar things you've always done before. It doesn't want you to change, right? So if you're used to having high months and low months and being like super happy when you have high months and then really, really stressed out during the downtime, because let's be honest, real estate is very, very cyclical. It just is what it is. But if you could incorporate a system, like I said, like the cycles won't even bother you because you know that you're ready for it. You're prepared. But if that's not familiar to you, your brain is not going to want that. It's going to want that drama, right? I read a quote years ago. It says that our brains, or we as humans, we prefer a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. So even if the familiar way you're doing things doesn't work out, is not working for you, you still want to do it because it's familiar. Because that's how our ancestors survived all those years ago, by just doing the same thing they did over and over again. They ate the same foods. They lived in the same cave, because anything outside of that meant potential danger. And your brain still operates off of the system, even though we don't live in caves anymore. Okay. It also wants you to have pleasure, right? Lots and lots of pleasure. And if we smooth out your money, you're not getting pleasure as often, right? Because you're like, my personal finances are just, taken care of, and I'm putting money in reserves. And then every quarter, maybe you get some pleasure. And your brain is like, well, we want pleasure all the time, right? So when you have those really high months, it's going to want you to spend. It's going to want you to make big business investments. It's going to want you to do all the fun things. But when you say, no, we're going to, put that in reserves, and then make a decision when it's time to reevaluate, your brain is like, wait, where's all the instant gratification? Where's all these dopamine hits? Because it just wants to feel good and survive. It doesn't want to thrive. And then, or I should say, it doesn't really care about thriving. And then the other thing it likes to do is use very little effort. Because when you use a lot of effort, it takes work, and your brain just wants to do, again, the familiar thing that doesn't take much effort. And this will take some effort, right? You're going to have to pull up your income over the last few months and decide what your owner's pay is. You may have to meet with your tax person, but when you really think about it, it is for your good. It is setting you up for success, and your brain doesn't want to do that. So what I'm asking you to do is to work against this motivational triad. That's why it's simple, but not easy. Your brain's going to want to quit, but that's where the beauty of coaching is so invaluable, because if you have someone pointing out, like, that's just your brain, this is just something you're going through right now, it'll keep you on the straight and narrow. It'll keep you in the game and not quitting. Okay. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is committing to the process for at least 1 year. We need to make this process familiar. Remember, I said your brain likes to do the familiar? Well, let's make this familiar, and then your brain will want to do it. And you can do that because of something called neuroplasticity. I always mess that word up, but we can do that because our brains are designed to change and to evolve and to grow, right? And if we make this process familiar to us, then our brains won't fight against it. It will actually want to do it, and it wouldn't be able to think about living life any other way. So if you practice this and make it a habit, then this will become familiar, and it will just be your new way of living. And here's what I want to say. Like, if this is how you're going to make your money, then you owe it to yourself, to your current self and your future self, to give this your best effort so that you can build wealth, so that you stop telling yourself all the negative stories and focusing on the negative side of the battery. Because your income earning potential is, like I said, is off the chain. It is unlimited. But what you definitely want to do in order to do that is to really survive, or to take the drama out of your personal finances, okay? And if you commit to this for a year, you will become someone different. You will look at money different, and you will be building wealth, period. There's no question in my mind, okay? Now, here's a mindset tip I want you to really take away today, is I want you, because you do have this unlimited earning potential, to really adopt the make more money mindset versus the cutting mindset. Because sometimes when we look at our numbers, we're like, oh, I need to cut, especially when it comes to your personal finances. There's only so much more you can cut, right? You definitely want to optimize your expenses, but we don't want to always just go to cut as the first option. Because it's so important that you adopt I can just make more, but in a way that serves you. And Lynea and I have had this conversation before. You can have that make more mindset that serves you, or one that doesn't serve you. When you think about the way that it doesn't serve you, is like, I'm just going to not plan. I'm not going to make provisions. I'm not going to save, and I'll just make more, right? That is not the mindset I'm talking about. I'm talking about that I'm going to do everything I can to build wealth and make sure I'm set up for success financially. And I'm going to use my gifts, my talents, and make a contribution to the world and be open to receiving money in return for that and make more. And that's how you're going to end up building wealth. Like, that is the secret to building wealth, not trying to cut expenses, but to actually just be open to making more and taking care of the money that you make so that it does accumulate, so that you can build wealth with it, so that you can have more than enough. Okay. And then that is what I had for you all today, short and sweet, because I wanted to leave you all an opportunity to ask questions. I do want to invite you. I am having a free live masterclass next week. There will be 3 time options to choose from. You can scan the code if you'd like and sign up. It's titled How to Build Wealth Without Going on a Strict Budget. And this is for all of my people who are like, I don't want to eat rice and beans. I don't want to stop vacationing and doing all the fun things in life in order to build wealth, and you do want to do both, then this is a great opportunity to join me for that masterclass. And if you are a podcast listener, I would love to have you listen. I have a podcast. It's called the Wealthy Woman's Podcast. It's all about building wealth and enjoying life at the same time. Again, that's the QR code. You can follow the show. And then I'm on Instagram at Germaine Foley Coaching, if you want to follow me there. Awesome. I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay, Lynea, do you want to do a question?
That was awesome. There were so many good tips that I took from that. You know what I took the most? And I hadn't actually heard this before. So this is why I like to have people come on. I'm like, oh, I'm going to learn something. Is building your money system with your lowest income month. Because I think that's like the game changer. Because I do that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to make like, okay, guys, this is like the busy season. We're all probably going to make about 75% of our income over the next 4 or 5 months, right? So if we're setting up our money system based off of the next 4 or 5 months, what's going to happen in December, right? And I hadn't really thought about that before. That was a huge win for me. The other thing, and I wanted to ask you what you thought about this, is the other day I was listening to, you know how I love Rachel Rodgers. One of the things she says in her book, and this is like a tip that I took, and I was like, oh, I bet Germaine would love this too, but she probably would tell me the same thing, is to look at your money every day. Because what I noticed about myself, and one thing I learned from you, was like my money, I'm super happy and grateful for money when it's coming in. But when it's not coming in, I'm mad and I'm anxious and I'm upset and I'm stressed and there's so many, like, the feelings around money when it's not coming in is really it's not as good. It's not positive at all, right? And so one thing I learned was to start focusing on money every day.
Yes, I love that. Focusing on what you have
behind that, right?
Yes, because if you think about it, that's one of the reasons why I really stress the importance of learning how to have money, not just make it and spend it. Because when the money isn't coming in, you can still log in your accounts and say, oh, I still have money. Even though I may not have made as much as I wanted to, I still have money. So yeah, I agree with that. And always find the most positive aspects of your money. Like, remember the battery. You can look at the fact that money's not coming in, or you can look at the fact that even though money's not coming in, you still have plenty of money because you were prepared.
Right. And then Juliana threw something good in the chat too, being grateful for money when it's going out. Because again, that's another thing. Like when I'm spending money, I like to spend money. Okay, it'll be all like, I'm not going to hide that. I love spending money. Okay. But like sometimes it's stressful when I'm like, oh, I don't want to spend money on that, but I want to spend money on this. Right. So it's just kind of the overall like your brain tells you really funny stories around money.
Yeah. I one time had a water come in my basement and it cost me like this obscene amount of money. And I found myself getting a little mad. But then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just grateful that I had the money, like that I get to fix this, that I'm not going to get mold in my house because I am able to take care of it. So yeah, even like paying for water, your water bill, like being grateful, like, okay, I can pay for water. So yeah. And it just makes you feel better on the inside. And it just opens you up for abundance when you do that.
Yeah. And a couple of the things that I have kind of taken away from you was, you guys, and this is gold. How many of you ever said, it's okay for me to spend it because I can always make more? Okay. Every one of us. It's okay. But Germaine, what's your thought on that? The mindset of I can always make more.
I agree. You can always make more, but what is the energy behind it? Is the energy, I'm just going to do whatever I want and be reckless with money because I can always make more? Or is it, no, I'm going to take care of the money that I have and be open to making more because I'm serving, I'm contributing, and there's so much more to be made, but I'm not making it because I'm being reckless. It's because I'm abundant and I want to have it and I'm open to receiving it. So yeah, I agree that you can always make more and that should be our attitude, but what's the energy behind it?
Yeah. It's like there's a little bit of a shift, right? The words matter, but I think what matters more is the way in which, the time in which the words are said. I mean, I have been guilty of, hey, I'm going to go spend a bunch of money on this coaching program right here because I can always make more money even though I don't have it coming in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Have we all done that? We've all done that? Yeah, I'm not the only one. Okay. So we're all in the same. Then Anna says it becomes a hamster wheel. It's a cycle. It's a cycle, right? Can you talk a little bit more? Because the thing I learned the most when I'm working with you is the primitive brain versus the primal brain.
Yes. Okay. So I kind of touched on it a little bit. So you've got there's two parts of your brain. I mean, there's plenty of parts of your brain, but when it comes to your money, we're going to focus on two. It's your primitive part. That's the part that operates off of that motivational triad that I talked about. It is if you're here, that means your ancestors survived for generations and your primitive brain is like the best. It's strong. It works. So it is all about surviving, keeping you alive. And it does that by doing the familiar things over and over again, even if those familiar things are not best for you. Right. So you think about it, back in those days, you had to do the familiar things, eat the same berries that you've always eaten, because if you eat berries from that other bush, you might die. They might be poisonous. So only do the things that you know how to do, because if you step outside of that, you might die. That's literally how your brain thinks, even though we're not in that environment today. So for me, when I was in debt, I was like a vicious cycle and I couldn't break out of it because I was just used to it. It was familiar. And so until you understand that psychology, then it's hard to break free from that, right? It also likes pleasure. It likes dopamine hits. So that sometimes that's why we like to spend money, because we get a nice dopamine hit. And it also likes to do very little when it comes to effort. Now, there's this other part of your brain that's only available to humans. It's right here. It's your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain that's all about thriving and all about growth and goals and evolution and becoming the next highest version of yourself. And those two parts are at odds with each other, right? So that is kind of what I reference it a lot. If you listen to my podcast, you'll hear me talk about it a lot, because money is way more than just dollars and cents. It's so psychological, it's so emotional, and our brains are in charge of so much more. And most of us don't even know this is happening in the background, and we beat ourselves up wondering why we can't get our money right, why we can't be more disciplined, why we can't have more control. It's because of that. Yeah, your brain, it's like that's a little tiny part of your brain too. It's like a tiny pea compared to the rest of your brain. So yeah,
a couple questions in there. Lewis said, are you a fan of the profit first cash management system?
I am actually, but I think that it can be, it just depends on your business, where you're at. I have other ideas too of how you can kind of handle your money as a business owner, but yeah, for sure.
And I think Nina's asking for recommendations if you have any recommendations on books for money books.
Money books. Rachel Rogers' book is really good. It's called We Should All Be Millionaires. I also, what book do I love? I don't know. I'm a big fan of non-money books that talk about mindset, and then I apply it to money. So, that's kind of one that I'm reading right now is, oh my gosh, did you all know that Napoleon Hill, so the man who wrote Think and Grow Rich, he also has this book called Outwitting the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
It's one that they discovered years after his passing, and it talks about how we have two. It's kind of like the primitive brain and the prefrontal brain. The primitive brain is based off of fear, and the prefrontal is based off of faith. And so that's what I'm reading now. And most of us, we let a lot of fear drive us versus hope and belief and faith. I have so many books. What was one that, Atomic Habits is good too. I love applying that to money.
The compound effect.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just read one that I finished yesterday. You guys, I just put it in my Instagram story if you all want to follow it or get it. It is called Integrity. It's by Glenn Stearns. Does anyone know who Glenn Stearns is?
Mm-mm.
He was the first undercover billionaire. So remember that Discovery show years ago, Undercover Billionaire, Glenn Stearns?
Oh, yeah.
He also built Stearns Lending, which has then become Success Lending, by the way. And Success Lending is Glenn Stearns and Glenn Sanford partnered to build this Success Lending, which is an EXP affiliated loan company. But he talks about like basically his story of going from, a person of very, very modest means to being a billionaire, and billionaires are the top 1% in the world. So I think those are always when it comes to books about money, like I'm kind of with Germaine. I like to read books about people who have made a lot of money and kind of watch their journey, because I think it's like, there's a lot of like, what is it? Vicky something or other does like the psychology of money. There's like the science of getting rich, but some of these all like classics, which are great. Don't get me wrong, but those are more like, there's not really like mindset. They're like habitual things, right? But what I learned from like reading stories of billionaires right now, which is my big study this year, is what is a billionaire doing that a millionaire is not, but what is a billionaire doing and where did they come from? Where did they start and what did they do over time to get there? So I would highly recommend Integrity by Glenn Stearns if you want a really good book about how to be one of those elite. So
there's another one I'll recommend. I think it's called The Abundance Code, that could kind of go a little deeper into psychology around money. I know someone put that in the chat.
Someone put it in there?
Someone asked about money psychology. So I think that's a good one, The Abundance Code.
Cool. We got him in there. Awesome. Germaine, thank you so much. I know this was super, super valuable for me, and I'm sure it was valuable for so many other people on this call. I can say because they are nodding their heads, so that's good. Thank you. I know that your time is really valuable, so I really appreciate you being here. Would you mind putting the link to your masterclass one more time in there, because it's kind of probably gotten hit up in the chat. So if you guys want to do Germaine's free masterclass on money, please do. It's right there for you. And don't forget to join us next week, because we have a very special guest. I say everyone's super special, but Ashley Herman, our very own Ashley Herman out of Arizona, is going to come on, and she's going to talk about the niche, which is vacation homes and second homes. Mm-hmm. So that's a really, really popular niche right now. I have like 5 of my own clients are looking for second homes right now. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, here we go. So timing couldn't be better. So make sure you join us next week, because Ashley's going to come and share some of her tips on that niche. Okay. Thanks so much. We'll see you all next week.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.